Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. It's Josie with Women Who Lead with Heart coming on for my sometimes Sunday night live, where I come on live Sundays sometimes to share, to teach, to coach, to inspire, and to connect with our audience here. So if you're joining me live, give me a hello or a wave. If you're joining on replay, give me a hashtag replay. This is the second of a three-part series all about the why we coach. If you have never had a coach or haven't ever been in a coaching relationship before, you might kind of sort of think you know what it's about, or maybe it seems kind of mystical and you're not really sure why people hire a coach. So I thought I'd do a three-part series to explain what I do as a coach that you can adopt into your own life. You could self-coach, you can use with yourself right away and see if you can find some benefits. Coaching is a different relationship than any other that I know of. It's very different than having a friendship relationship or a partner relationship, although your coach might really connect with you on a deep, heartfelt level and might really support you in the way that a friend does. A coach is different because a coach holds space in a neutral way, both rooting for your ultimate transformation and positive outcomes that you desire, but also holding you completely capable and independent and creative of creating your own experiences, your own path in life. Unlike a family member or a relative that might have a stake in what you decide and how you choose and how you behave, a coach is more neutral. And a coach actually is also somebody who holds a higher bar for you. So I'm going to get into it in a little bit, but let's review a little bit about what we have already talked about in our last session. I talked about, I think the first two sessions are probably the most important. The one that we did last week was all about getting clarity. The first thing a coach can help you do in a coaching relationship is get clear, to get absolutely clear on whatever it is that you're facing. The dissonance that you're feeling in your life, the stuckness that's present, the dissonance that you feel between a moment where you are and a moment where you want to be, um, uncertainty about a choice point, feeling like you want a different outcome than you currently have, but you lack the clarity to actually know what it is that you want. So, step one in any coaching relationship for me is helping my clients get clear. I like to say a confused mind cannot act powerfully. A confused mind stays with the status quo. A confused mind can fall into inertia and a lack of action and more stuckness. A confused mind can buffer against taking action because it sounds too hard and it feels too hard. Buffering is things that make us feel better in absence of taking radical, powerful forward action. Things like watching TV or gossiping or drinking alcohol or eating chips, or not that I do those things, or sleeping in, or shopping, scrolling, things that are sort of numbing, satisfying behaviors that only last for a short period of time is what in the coach world we call buffering. So without clarity, we tend to seek ease or comfort in other ways that don't really forward the action in our lives. So the first thing, as we're reviewing, the first thing that a coach would help you do is get clear. Getting clear on what it is that you want and what it is that's holding you back. Sometimes what we're seeking is clarity about our desires. Sometimes we're seeking understanding about who we are and to get better in touch with ourselves and who we are and what we're meant to be. But ultimately, we want to know what is it that we want. We want to address the obstacle thinking that is present that is holding us back. The flawed thoughts or limiting beliefs that we're holding, sometimes unconsciously, that are keeping us from going for what we really want. And I can give you some examples. Like a flawed thought would be something where you're making an assumption that can't be proved, but it's holding you back. You think, well, I'd really like to, expand in my career, or I'd love to start my own business, but I probably need to learn more about it first. That's not necessarily true, and it's sort of like a hurdle that your brain is imposing, keeping you from going after what you want. And I talk a lot about that in my workshops, the way in which our brain sometimes keeps us small and safe to protect us from feeling failure or humiliation or rejection, which is all well and good, but not when it comes at the cost of us actually really going for it in our lives. So we want to know more about who we are, what we want, what makes us tick, where our values are, what it is that we most desire. And we want to come into clear understanding of that. So that's step one. And it's important if you're doing this with yourself to kind of keep that in its own lane. The minute that you'll start to identify your heart's desires, there's a strong likelihood that your brain will start offering you resistance and all the reasons why something that you desire can't come to pass or is unlikely or will be hard or never worked before or la la la. Our brain loves to throw up all of these obstacles. Well, what if this happens? Or you should be afraid of that. All of the hesitations will come if you don't sort of hold space for you to just dream and just get clear. That's what a coach can help you do. The minute that she hears you start to go off in a tangent, arguing for your own limitations, she can bring you right back and remind you that the whole purpose right now is just to get clear on what's important, what you want, what you need, what you deserve, what you need to claim. That's one function of a coach. And this whole clarity piece, sometimes it's like the client already knows. They know deep down exactly what needs to happen or what needs to change or who they are or what they want, but they haven't really faced it. And other times, it's something that we know sort of like cognitively, like logically, mentally, but somewhere deep inside, there's this deep resistance to actually claiming it. Like we would totally believe it's true for our friend or a loved one, but not for ourselves. And so this clarity piece can take all these different functions, all these different pathways of sifting and sorting in either a slow no, where you slowly come into knowing and accepting and realization, or a rapid no, where you absolutely come to a burst of lightning thought, where you have a sudden epiphany, where you understand in a moment exactly what it is. Both things are very powerful, and both things take some time and some focus. So all of this is step one. This is all about the first lesson that we did last week, getting clear. But then what comes next is absolutely essential. Without deciding and taking action, clarity means nothing. Clarity is just happy words. Clarity is just, it's just a fairy tale if we're not taking action once we know what we want and what we need to do with our lives. So a very big function of my coaching and most coaching out there is inspiring clients to take powerful action. And you can take powerful action only once you're clear, only once you have a knowing, only once you have a direction. So decisions need to come from desire and from truth and from clarity. And they can be a variety of examples. Like I've decided I don't want to be talked that way anymore. I've decided I require more from the relationships in my life. I've decided I want to go for something new in my career. I've decided I want to change careers, or I really want to do what I love, or I want to start my own business. These are taking the clarifying awareness piece one step further towards actually making a powerful decision. It can look like I want to get healthy. Or I want to ask for more. I want to get a promotion. I want to get paid more. I want to start my own business. I want to have a baby. I want to travel the world, something I've always wanted, but I've never really decided that I'm going to do. Now, as I'm playing with some of these examples, you might have what some of my clients have, this experience of both thrill and terror. Excitement that it could be so exhilarating to go for that thing with an immediate whiplash of fear. What if? What if I go for it and it doesn't work? What if I get rejected? What if I get told no? What if I fail? What if I try so hard, I put all my effort forth and it doesn't work? We're afraid. Our brains are on overdrive, worried about all the potential things that could go wrong. It's what a happy brain does, is it looks for ways to keep us safe. And this is a way that a coach can support you as well, and that you can support yourself if you're savvy to the way your brain might want to work. The minute your desired dream, your hoped for decision is articulated, and the resistance is brought forth, the fear is brought forth, the what if is brought forth, the minute that happens, the second that happens, you want to just be calling it out and saying, hang on, that could be flawed thinking. That's an assumption that's not necessarily true. That's just your brain doing what it does. Let's hold that off to the side. Let's acknowledge that there is some fear of going for it and not deal with it just yet. Let's stay in the inspiration of powerful action. That's what a coach does. Sometimes we play tricks with our brains and say, let's just imagine we can go to, have a magic wand. And if I could wave the magic wand and anything could be true, let's just wish for it without all the buts, the what ifs, the yes ands, the but you don't understand, the all of the hesitations, right? All the history. Another game that some coaches play is imagine you could just go to a big box store and walk down the aisle of dreams and pull a box off the shelf that says exactly what you want, and you could just go and buy it. You can afford it. You take that box and you walk to the register and you scan the little barcode and you can buy it. What if it was that easy? We stay in the zone of possibility. You with me? So despite the resistance and despite the fear, the coach's second job is to inspire powerful action. And now I'll give you some tips and tactics of how that could look. Let's say that you coach yourself through knowing exactly what you want, having clarity, having understanding, and making a decision. And you want to double dare yourself to get going on it. Here are some fun ways that you can employ a coach's tactics to powerfully take action. You ready? Okay, here's one. You can ask yourself, if you're stuck, if you're thinking, I don't even know how to start, ask your wise self, your older self, your 10 years beyond self, your self of the future that has achieved everything that you desire, that is looking back at you today, and have her guide you, have her wisdom encourage you. What would she have you do? Another way of doing that could be, what's the first step that you might take to become her? There are powerful questions that you can ask yourself. Why not? Why not get started? Why not you? Why isn't it possible? You can ask and answer those questions. Here's one. What's the worst that could happen? Yes, there's fear. Yes, there's resistance. Yes, there's hesitation. Yes, there's worry. But really, what's the worst that could happen? Sometimes we just need to really look at that. And alternatively, what's the best that could happen? What if the best outcome is possible? That can encourage us to take powerful action when we think in that way. What if it all works out better than you had thought? What if it's easier? What if it's hard but also delightful? What if it's the best thing ever? Other things that you can use to help inspire powerful action is to drop all or nothing thinking. The minute that your brain thinks like, yeah, but then that might just totally crash and burn and I'll regret it and I might lose. Watch your brain's tendency to kind of paint this picture of either a total yes or a total no, a total win or a total fail. All or nothing thinking is usually flawed. It's usually impossible for a single decision to have 100% irreversible consequences and be 100% something or the other thing. That's just sort of this reductive way that our brains work, and you want to be curious in those moments. So watch those all or nothing thoughts that you have about a big decision. You can ask yourself, okay, let's say you don't do anything. What would happen in 6 months or a year if you do nothing, if you take no forward action? This helps you see that action is actually the healthiest thing. Even if it seems risky, it's necessary because if you do nothing, nothing changes. Another way to unlock powerful action is to give yourself some permission and allow for something. Like, what if it's messy? What if you're not sure? Can you give yourself permission for uncertainty as you take action? Can you give yourself patience and space as you explore? Another fun one, which can be triggering, and I think I talked about this last week, is so what coaching. So if a client says, yeah, but it's really hard, your coach could say, so what? So what if it's hard? You can do it. Or a client could say, well, but I'm really afraid, what will they say? And I'm just wondering if that'll hurt everybody's feelings or if they'll feel different about me or if that'll change things. And your coach could say, so what? What if that happens? It's a way of us dealing with sort of that worst outcome and realizing it doesn't swallow us, it doesn't kill us. Okay, so are you giving yourself some ideas now of how you could self-coach into taking powerful action, or does it seem really hard? This is why people hire coaches, is they hire somebody that can help them with that, to sift and sort and understand what it is that needs attention, and then to make a powerful decision and act on it. If you don't have a coach, you can check in with yourself and do some of the tactics that I explained last time. You can check in with your body. How do I feel when I make this decision? What's here for me? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? What's my physical response? Where am I holding tension? What would that tension be telling me? What is that body part trying to say? You can write about it. You can journal everything that you're curious about or wondering about, and help your clarity come through and your resolve to hold yourself to the decision to come through. But notice in all of these, I'm not saying go poll your people. I'm not saying go ask your friends and neighbors and your partner and your mother what they think. That's the tricky thing, is that our people, love them that we do, sometimes hold a vote in how we do it. They are fearful for us. They can add on to that fear that wants to keep us safe. They might suggest a compromise or more safety and security or more reasoned, measured, slower approach. And that might seem smart, but you know that that could also be keeping you small. So this work sometimes is most important done personally, privately, before you announce to your community, I'm quitting my job, I'm starting my own thing. Or I've decided to have a baby, or I've decided to move to Italy. Things that might bring a critique or some fearful response, projecting upon you their own desire for safety or their wish to have you be the same. Those are reasons why you may not find it powerful to use your people as a coach. Ultimately, a coach is there to hold space for you and to hear you very carefully, elaborate on what it is that you think is holding you back, to air the thoughts that you have and listen for the errors or assumptions that are in them, to help you process big feelings and emotion and remind you of what your truth is and what you said you wanted in the first place. A coach is there employed to focus completely on you and not play the ping pong of how are you? I'm fine. How are you? How was your day? It was fine. And what's happening? How are, that back and forth dynamic that goes on socially is very different in a coaching relationship. And that's what you can do for yourself too. If you're interested in this self-coaching model, you want to spend time just focused on your thoughts and what it means for you, and not trying to incorporate the impact or the relational structure that it has on others. Does that sound selfish? Yes. Is it okay? Yes. All too often, many of us are focused to a degree that is dysfunctional on what other people think, and it keeps us from actually knowing clearly what a yes and a no is for us. I like to say too that a friend or a family member can get in the pool with you. This is the whole idea that if you can't swim well and you're flailing about in a pool and you're screaming for help or you want to explain your predicament, A friend will jump in the pool with you and will love who you love and hate who you hate and be mad with you with what you're mad at and commiserate and corroborate your story, right, out of support. But a coach doesn't do that. A coach will hold themselves with compassion, seeing you in the pool, and ask, what do you need? What would you like me to do? Would you like a rope? Would you like a ring? Do you want to try to swim? Can I tell you that you're okay? Can I give you the permission to float on your back? Can I tell you you're not going to drown right now? I'm not going to get in the pool with you. I'm going to hold space and neutrality and also love. It's both at the same time. Okay, so the phrase that I used on the advertisement for this talk tonight was a oft used phrase about taking action, and I want to finish with it. It says, whatever you can do or dream you can do, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. This is a call to action for you to take action, for you to decide, for you to make a move. But I would only add that when you dream it, it means that you're clear about what it is. We don't just take random action to see what happens. We take concerted action based on desires that we're clear about. So that's step 2 of how coaching works for you. Step 1 is getting clear. Step 2 is taking powerful action from a decided place of clarity and knowing that you're safe and that with action comes powerful transformation. Stay tuned for next week where we go to step 3. Look for it in the group and I'll explain more soon. That's it for me now. Go well.